Hi, everyone. This is Anna, one of your consumer technology specialists at Mid-Continent Public Library. Today, we are going to talk about some tips and tricks for video conferencing. Most of the tips and tricks we will talk about are geared towards people who are using these softwares for a business call or meeting, but they can be applied to pretty much any call. So first, we should talk about what actually is video conferencing. Video conferencing is any type of video call or meeting that takes place via the internet using a specialized software. There are a variety of reasons why people might use a video conferencing software. They may be using it for work, for a work meeting, and these meetings could be because someone is a remote worker, or it could just be that people who need to be in the meeting are in different places and it works best for it to be a virtual meeting. Other reasons could be that you could do a job interview with this kind of software now. You could also just have a one-on-one conversation with a friend or a family member, or you could even host like a game night or just a chat with family who live across the country or even across the world. The growth in remote work also has really increased the need for this type of technology. Some of the popular video conferencing services include Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Skype, which is also a Microsoft product, Google Meet, and BlueJeans by Verizon. There are many different options to choose from, whether you are using it for personal or business uses. So some things to know about these softwares. In general, you can attend a meeting without having an account. This is definitely true on Teams and on Zoom. Both of them offer free basic plans as well. So if you do not have an account, you would just need the information, the link to the meeting. If there is a passcode for the meeting, you would need that. But otherwise, you'd be able to join as a guest. If you go ahead and create a free account, you have a few more options. So you can actually schedule meetings for a limited period of time or with a limited number of participants. For example, Microsoft Teams allows you to hold 1-hour meetings, and you can have up to 100 participants in that meeting. With Zoom, you can have a 40-minute meeting, and you can also have 100 participants in that meeting. And when I say this, these limitations are going to be based on whoever has created the meeting. So if you create a meeting and invite people, it would be subject to whatever type of account you have. If you are invited to a meeting by someone else who has a premium account, the limitations would reflect what they are able to schedule. So if you're in a 2-hour meeting and you have one of those free accounts, you're not going to get kicked out of the meeting after 40 or 60 minutes. You will still be able to participate in the entire meeting. So that's just something to know. A few things you may want to note before the meeting. You do want to remember that a virtual meeting is still a meeting, so you should dress and act as you would if the meeting were in person. If you're attending a meeting, you also want to make sure that you have downloaded and reviewed any materials that have been sent by the host or presenter of the meeting. Just like in person, again, you want to come prepared to the meeting. I would also suggest keeping a pen and paper close to you if you anticipate needing to take notes, especially if you are in a virtual meeting and you only have one monitor. It can be hard to have the meeting open on your screen and then also be trying to type notes as well. Another thing that you want to do before a meeting is to check that your camera and microphone are working properly. Don't wait until you join the meeting to test these tools. If you have an account, you can actually start a meeting to check your camera and your microphone. You don't need to invite anyone, and that should give you the ability to check that your camera is connected and working, and then also your microphone. You want to check and make sure that the right tool is selected so that the right technology will be used and people will be able to see you and hear you during the meeting. Also, don't forget to have a charger close by. Videos and video meetings do take up a lot of battery, so you may want to go ahead and plug in your device for the entire meeting, and that would help you avoid any interruptions. Or you at least want to have a charger there close by in case your battery does become quite low and you need to plug it in. If you're presenting at a meeting and you have visual aids, you want to practice sharing them ahead of time. So sharing your screen is something that it does take a little getting used to if you've never done it before. It is helpful to have another person in your practice meeting so that they can let you know whether the sharing is successful, whether they can see what you're trying to share, if there's sound involved, whether they can hear what you're trying to share. If you have an audio or video clip of some kind, you do often have to check something specific to share your screen with the computer audio as well. So testing these things before the meeting, it won't stop every single instance of technical difficulty, but it's going to set you up for success, and it will make you feel more comfortable when you're actually presenting or participating in a meeting. You also want to consider your location. So if you are at home or even in the office, take a minute and look around and notice what is behind you. So when you're in the meeting, what are the people who are looking at your video going to see behind you? Is there a place that you can move to maybe a blank wall or at least a less cluttered, uncluttered part of the building or the room? If you're in a public space, you also want to consider your location. Do you anticipate sensitive or private information being shared during the meeting? Because if you anticipate any sensitive or private information being discussed, whether it's yours or someone else's, you may want to move to a more private location. The library does offer free Wi-Fi, and we offer study rooms that can be booked for up to 2 hours per day as their availability allows. So if you can plan ahead, you may be able to use one of these rooms if you need a little privacy, if you have to be in a public space. Now, I will say that these rooms are not completely soundproof, so keep that in mind. You also want to check your internet connection before the meeting, because if you are in a place that you know always has spotty internet, that's probably not the best place to attend a virtual meeting. So you will want to think about that ahead of time and make plans if you need to be in a different space. Another tip is before the meeting, just check your lighting. This you can do while you're checking your camera is a really good option. You don't have to have a bunch of lights on you, making you look model ready, but you do want to try to make sure that you aren't being backlit. So this would be if you have your main source of light behind you, that puts your face in shadow and makes it hard for people to see you. So anytime you can have natural light, that's good, or just to make sure that you have your main source of light isn't coming from behind you. Now, during the meeting, if you're in a meeting and you're not speaking, it is a good idea to mute yourself. You might think you're being very quiet, but your microphone could be picking up any kind of background noise, which can then be really distracting to other attendees. So if you're not speaking, if it's not a free-flowing conversation back and forth, go ahead and mute yourself if you're not speaking. That said, you then need to remember to unmute yourself when you're ready to speak. Other tips are to silence any alarms or notifications on your device so that they're not popping up and disrupting the meeting. And whenever possible, try to use headphones and a mic. Your laptop probably has speakers with a built-in microphone, but using these tools can make it hard for others to hear you as well as for you to hear others. Your microphone on your laptop is going to pick up any little noises. If you're typing, it's going to pick that up. If you are moving around at all, it's probably going to pick that up. And that's going to be heard more than your voice because your voice is farther away from the microphone. Whereas if you're wearing a headset, you do kind of have the microphone very close to your face, so your voice is the main thing being picked up. A few other notes about video conferencing. Never record a meeting without getting permission of everyone present at the meeting beforehand. You want to let attendees know ahead of time if you're going to be recording the meeting and then if you're going to be making it available after the fact. The last thing I would suggest is that before a meeting, look for accessibility options such as live captions. These are going to be located somewhere in your settings. If that is something you need, it's always good to know where it is ahead of time. If you're the person running the meeting, it is much more inclusive if you can give your attendees that information at the beginning of the meeting in case they do need something like that. This has been just some tips and tricks for using video conferencing software. I hope that these tips were helpful for you and give you some confidence in going into your first or one of your first video meetings. In the future, we are going to highlight specific video conferencing apps in separate videos, so make sure you check back for those. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you let us know by following our MCPL 360 page on Facebook and our MCPL MO channel on YouTube. We premiere new videos every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. And if you missed the live event, you can always find all of our videos on YouTube on one of our many technology-related playlists on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you again next time.